Brickyard belongs to Bubba. Wallace wins in Indy, and he's going to the playoffs.
He just made history at one of NASCAR's biggest races, but instead of praise, two racing legends turned their backs on him. One called him weak, the other said he didn't even deserve a congrats. What's really going on between Bubba Wallace and the Petty family, and why is this rift tearing NASCAR apart? Bubba Wallace made history at the Brickyard 400, ending a brutal 100-race winless streak and securing a critical playoff spot. For any other driver, this would have been a moment of universal praise. But Wallace isn't just any driver. He's the face of 2311 Racing, a team co-owned by Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. He's also the only black driver in NASCAR's top tier, and that alone brings a storm of attention, praise, and controversy. Wallace's win at Indianapolis wasn't just a stat on paper. It was symbolic. 2311. Racing is the first ever unchartered team to win on a non-drafting oval, and whispers about whether he truly belonged in the sport's upper echelon. But instead of celebration, something colder was brewing behind the scenes. When asked if he planned to congratulate his former driver on the Brickyard win, Richard Petty didn't hesitate. He said, "No, I never congratulate anybody, even my own drivers. You put them out there, you expect them to win, that's what you put them out there for."
No, I never congratulate anybody, okay? Even my drivers and stuff. You put them out there, you expect them to win the race. That's what you put them out there for.
That might sound like tough love, but the tone hits harder when you consider the history. Bubba Wallace drove for Petty's team Richard Petty Motorsports from 2018 to 2020. He was handpicked to carry the King's legacy, even piloting the legendary number 43 car. But over time, tensions grew. Wallace wanted more resources, more competitive equipment. Petty's team couldn't provide it. Eventually, Wallace left for 2311 Racing, a move that was seen by some as a betrayal and by others as survival. And now, even after making history, Petty's message was clear. Legacy doesn't come with handshakes. As if Richard Petty's silence wasn't enough, Kyle Petty, former driver, TV analyst, and son of the King, took things a step further. When Bubba Wallace declined to do media interviews after a rough race weekend, Kyle had this to say: "If mentally he is that fragile, then maybe this is not the game for him." No sympathy, no nuance, just blunt critique. Petty wasn't attacking Wallace's talent, he was calling out what he saw as weakness. In Kyle's world, part of being a pro is showing up, no matter how you feel. Post-race interviews are part of the job, and ducking them is, in his eyes, unacceptable. But this comment didn't land quietly. Fans exploded on social media. Some agreed, saying media duties are part of the sport. But others slammed Kyle's take as out of touch, arguing that Wallace's openness about mental health should be respected, not ridiculed.
If mentally he is that fragile, then maybe this is not the game for him.
This isn't the first time Bubba Wallace has spoken publicly about the mental toll of racing. In multiple interviews, he's shared how the pressure, criticism, and spotlight affect his mental health. He's admitted to self-doubt, anxiety, and needing time to reset after tough races. When asked if Wallace has always been able to talk so openly about his experiences with mental health, he says, "I feel like I have, just no one's really asked. That's the thing with life. You don't know what other people are going through," he says, before adding this, "We always go up to people and say, 'Hey, how are you today?' Instead of being like, 'How do you feel right now?' That's totally different. Right? It's pretty powerful. For younger fans and modern athletes, this kind of honesty is refreshing. It breaks the tough guy mold and shows that even elite competitors struggle. But for veterans like Kyle Petty, it clashes with the old school mindset that says, suck it up, get back in the car, and say the right things in front of the camera. So when Wallace skipped a few interviews to protect his mental space, Petty didn't see that as strength. He saw it as a weakness. And that reveals a deeper divide, not just in mindset, but in values. Today's sports culture is evolving. Fans want authenticity, vulnerability, and emotional awareness. Wallace embodies that. But to the old guard, those traits can be seen as liabilities rather than strengths. It's a disconnect that continues to grow with each public clash. What we're watching isn't just a disagreement, it's a cultural collision. On one side, you've got the old guard, Richard and Kyle Petty, legends who grew up in an era where feelings were kept private, media obligations were non-negotiable, and toughness was measured by silence. On the other side is Bubba Wallace, a new face in the sport who embraces vulnerability, speaks openly about injustice, and refuses to play the game the old way. He's not just changing the way NASCAR looks, he's challenging the way it thinks. And that makes some people uncomfortable. The NASCAR fan base hasn't exactly been quiet about this. When Richard Petty's comments went public, some fans praised his no-nonsense philosophy. They said Wallace still has a lot to prove, and that earning respect in this sport doesn't come from one win. Others were furious. They pointed out that even if Petty doesn't do congratulations, a simple acknowledgement wouldn't have hurt, especially for a driver who helped keep Petty's team relevant during lean years. Kyle Petty's remarks drew even sharper backlash. Reddit threads exploded with criticism, calling his tone disrespectful and tone-deaf. Some fans even accused him of targeting Wallace more harshly than others who skipped interviews. And while Kyle never walked back his comments, the wave of backlash made one thing clear: Bubba Wallace has defenders, and they're not staying quiet. While both Pettys insisted their comments were about principle, not personal, many fans weren't buying it. Richard Petty's refusal to congratulate Wallace felt pointed. After all, he had publicly praised less impactful wins by other drivers in the past. And Kyle's harsh take felt unusually sharp, especially considering Wallace has never been involved in any off-track controversies. If anything, Wallace has been a lightning rod for political and cultural tension, but always while staying within the lines of professionalism. So was this about sportsmanship or something deeper? Through all the noise, Wallace hasn't clapped back. He hasn't fired off a tweet or responded with a soundbite. Instead, he let his Brickyard performance speak for itself. Fast pit stops, clean laps, calm under restart pressure. It was one of the most complete drives of his career. And whether Richard Petty liked it or not, that performance earned Wallace a spot in the playoffs and the respect of thousands of fans. Maybe that's the real message. In a sport built on speed, sometimes the best response is to just keep moving forward. Wallace is also becoming a symbol for a broader shift in NASCAR. He represents a new generation of drivers who aren't afraid to speak up, challenge tradition, and push for inclusivity in a sport long dominated by conservative values. Every win he earns isn't just a personal milestone, it's a cultural one. That makes his victories feel bigger, heavier, and, to some, more controversial. But that's exactly why they matter. This wasn't just about congratulations or a skipped interview, it was about two eras of NASCAR clashing in full view. Richard and Kyle Petty represent a generation that built the sport with grit, silence, and a strict code. Bubba Wallace is part of a new wave, one that values transparency, emotion, and the power of the individual voice. Whether you think the Pettys are right or wrong, one thing is certain: Bubba Wallace isn't going anywhere. He's not asking for validation. He's not trying to fit a mold. He's here to drive, to win, and to rewrite the expectations of what a NASCAR driver is supposed to be. And maybe that's what makes him so controversial and so necessary. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the most dramatic moments in NASCAR. What do you think? Was Wallace treated unfairly? Or are the Pettys just sticking to old-school values? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read them all.